When you think of Costco, what comes to mind? It's probably those giant warehouses, right? And maybe that super cheap, super famous hot dog. Well, behind all of that is an absolute financial powerhouse. Their latest earnings report just gave us a peek under the hood, and honestly, the numbers are staggering. So let's pull back the curtain and see what really makes this machine tick.
Okay, so this scene right here, it's probably super familiar to millions of us, the classic weekend Costco run. It feels, well, normal. But trust me, the numbers driving this everyday experience are anything but. They are, frankly, astronomical.
All right, get ready for this. $66 billion. That's what Costco pulled in for net sales. And get this, that's in just 12 weeks. I mean, to give you some perspective, that's more than the entire annual GDP of some countries. It's just, wow.
All right, let's kick things off with the big headline numbers, the ones that really show you just how much of a blockbuster quarter this was for them.
So after they've paid for all that merchandise, paid every single employee, and kept the lights on in over 900 warehouses, they walked away with a cool $2 billion in pure profit. That's the net income, the bottom line. And yeah, it's a huge, huge number. Okay, but this is where it gets really interesting. You see, the official profit growth was 11%, which, don't get me wrong, is fantastic. But if you strip away some of these one-off tax benefits, you get to the real story, the core of the business. And that core profit, it grew by a massive 13.6%. It just goes to show you that the engine is humming along even stronger than the headlines might suggest.
Okay, profit is one thing, but you and I know it all starts with sales, right? So where did that $66 billion actually come from? And more importantly, how fast is it growing? Let's dig in.
So overall, their net sales shot up 8.2% compared to the same time last year. Now, for a company this absolutely massive, growing at that kind of pace, it's like trying to turn an aircraft carrier on a dime. It's just incredible momentum.
All right, before we go any further, I want to quickly break down a term you're going to see. It's called adjusted comparable sales. Sounds super jargony, I know, but it's actually pretty simple. Basically, it just measures sales growth from stores that have been open for at least a year. And it cleverly strips out all the noisy stuff like swings in gas prices or currency exchange rates. What you're left with is the purest look at how healthy the core business really is.
And boom! This chart right here shows you just how healthy that core business is. I mean, look at the US, up a super strong 5.9%. Then you've got their other international markets, up almost 7%. And would you look at Canada? Absolutely on fire with 9% growth. This isn't a case of one region carrying the whole company. No way. This is a truly global success story.
But, sales are only one piece of the puzzle. The real foundation of the Costco empire, their not-so-secret weapon, it's all about that membership model. It's literally how they've built this unbeatable fortress.
So you see these cards? They're so much more than just a piece of plastic. They're basically the keys to the kingdom. The deal is simple. You pay a fee once a year to get in the door. In return, Costco makes you a promise to deliver absolutely unbeatable value. It's a contract.
So how many people have signed on the dotted line for this deal? Get this, over 81.4 million paid household memberships worldwide. Just let that sink in. That's more than the entire population of Germany, all paying for the privilege to walk into a Costco and shop. Okay, so they get people in the door. But here's the billion-dollar question. Do people stick around? The answer is a resounding, oh yes. Check this out. In the US and Canada, their biggest markets, a jaw-dropping 92.2% of members renew every single year. That isn't just customer satisfaction, folks. That is fierce, almost fanatical loyalty. And what does that loyalty give Costco? An incredibly stable, predictable river of cash that just keeps flowing year after year.
All right, so when you have a loyal fan base like that, what's the next logical step? You expand. And Costco? They're pushing forward hard on two fronts at the same time. The digital world, and yeah, the good old-fashioned physical one.
So let's talk digital first. For years, let's be honest, people kind of knocked Costco's website and app for being a bit behind the times. Well, it looks like they've been listening because they are working hard to change that perception, adding really useful features like this one here, where you can search your local warehouse's inventory right from your phone.
And are these changes working? The results speak for themselves. Their digitally enabled sales are up over 20%. I mean, that's huge. And they got 24% more traffic coming to their e-commerce site. Just by improving things that sound simple, like search and adding some personalization, they're making the whole online experience so much better. And it is clearly paying off.
But don't think for a second they're abandoning their roots. Nope. At the exact same time, their physical expansion is just chugging along at a really steady pace. This, for example, is their brand new warehouse over in Mulhouse, France. It's just one of several new spots they opened this quarter.
Now this table really puts that physical growth into perspective for you. Right now, as you can see, they're sitting at 923 warehouses across the globe. And the plan? To tack on another 19 this fiscal year alone. That'll bring the grand total up to 942. It's just this methodical, relentless march expanding their footprint all over the world.
So let's recap. We've got incredibly strong sales, we've got intense member loyalty, and we've got steady expansion. So what's the final piece of the puzzle? What's the glue that holds this entire machine together? It all comes down to one thing, that promise of delivering just incredible value.
And a massive part of that value promise comes from this brand right here, Kirkland's Signature. You have to understand Costco's private label. It's not some cheap, generic knockoff. For millions of shoppers, this logo is a mark of quality, something they trust just as much and sometimes even more than the big national brands.
Okay, now this is where the story gets really compelling. Think about it. We're in a world where it feels like the price of everything is going up, up, up. Well, Costco is using its immense power to do the exact opposite. They are actively, and I mean actively, finding ways to lower prices on stuff for their members.
You want a real-world example? Let's take a look. This is their super popular Kirkland bacon. Used to be $18.99, and now it's $2 cheaper, $16.99. That's a real, tangible savings on something people buy week in and week out.
And it's not a one-off. Here's another one. This big 3-pound bag of walnuts was $10.49. They just dropped it to $8.99. And look, this isn't some temporary sale. This is them lowering the everyday low price. It's them screaming from the rooftops that they are serious about that core promise of value. So, when you step back and look at the whole picture, you've got this massive, fiercely loyal membership base. You've got a steady, smart expansion plan both online and in the real world, and you have this relentless focus on lowering prices while everyone else is jacking them up. It's a company that is just firing on all cylinders, which really leaves us with just one big lingering question. At this point, what could possibly slow the Costco machine down?